Okay, it is September 11th, currently 9:48 in the morning. We're looking at the SPX 5-minute chart. Uh, at this point, I have the 2865 call option in the active trader window. I am looking at the option area chart, and we are still in a red area uh, situation. I'm waiting for this to turn green or up. We do have a nice upsloping theoretical price line, as well as a sloping down VXX line, which is this yellow line. I'm looking at the skew right now for at the money, which would be, let's see, that would be the 73. So we're looking at the 75 at the money, 6.8 on the call side, 8.4 on the put side. So the skew right now is still trending bearish. One strike in the money, 9.75 versus 11. Let's bring this down a little bit. Versus, let's go back. 75. So we're going 10.5 versus 10.6. So we're starting to turn bullish here. And again, I think the key component, looking at the cyber cycle, the MACD dots are trying to turn green here. We do have an upward pointing cyber cycle. Looking at the RSI Mobius, and we are now breaking out of the oversold scenario. And the momentum on the squeeze is starting to lessen in the bearish environment. So things are looking good here. I suspect that we are going to make a push towards the 20 EMA or possibly closing the gap within the next 45 minutes. So we'll keep an eye on this, and when things change, I'll be coming back. Okay, right now we're back, and you can see that this last bar on the 5-minute is trying to turn green, which means an upward trend is beginning. However, if we look at our option chart, we are still in a red area, signifying that the pressure is still bearish. But looking at the skew, and again, this is probably the most important part of this whole formula. If we look at the 2875, which is the closest at the money, we're at 7.35 versus 7.7. So it sort of supports our area chart here in that we are more in a neutral scenario than we are in a extremely bullish or bearish scenario. Going one strike in the money, we're at 10.3 at the 2870 call, and we're 10.6 on the put side. So still moderately bearish here. So I would not be taking a long call trade at this point. If anything changes, I'll be back, and we'll see what happens. Okay, on this bar, again, we're trying to close green. The skew is starting to look very interesting. Right now, we at the money at 2875. We are looking at a 7.8 versus a 7.3. So we have now gone bullish. One strike in the money, 9.6 on the put side, and 11.25, 11.3 on the call side. So at this point, I feel we are turning bullish. Although the area chart is still red, I'm going to join the bid here, see if I can get in on a, and we did get in. So at this point, we're going to try to go past the 20 moving EMA and hopefully go to the next R1 pivot point, which is using Person's pivot. In our active trader window, we have a bracket target and stop based on $150 per contract. You can see that here. I'm going to close that so that we have more of the active window available to make adjustments. The one negative in this trade right now is that this has not turned green, and maybe I should have waited and also should have paid attention to the 20 EMA as being major resistance. But everything else was looking positive. We have an upward sloping RSI, and also the momentum on the downside on the squeeze is yellow, which means it's starting to turn bullish. And on the MACD, we have two green dots and a strongly sloping upward trending cyber cycle. So let's see how this all plays out. I do want to note, however, that our VXX, which is this yellow line, is still sharply pointing down, meaning that volatility is weakening, and we have a strongly upward pointing theoretical price, which is showing that the price does want to go up on this call. This would be the 2865 call. So I would imagine if this area turns green on the next bar, we're in pretty good shape. If it doesn't, we may be sitting here for a while bouncing off of the pivot point, which is this white dotted line. And here we go. We've broken above the pivot point, now going to the 20 EMA, which you can see right here. We now have a green area chart on the 2865 call. Positive sign. So all our indicators are now in line for a successful bull run. But it seems like we have, as I was mentioning earlier, bounced off the EMA, which is a major resistance point. So we'll keep an eye on that and look at our other indicators. Again, key component here is skew. And now that we're at what, 2876, the 2875 is still our at the money at 7.7 versus 7.5. So now it's just turned bearish at 7.6. So we're more in a neutral scenario than we are in a strong bullish scenario. And I may see what happens on this bar close. I may take whatever profit I can or break even. I am going to bring up my stop to just $150 on the 3 contracts. I am now $45 in the money. And let's see if this current bar can push through the 20 EMA, because really the next resistance area is R1 right here, which is the red dots on the price chart. Cyber cycle still pointing up. The MACD, we now have 3 green lines on the price chart and 2 green lines on the option chart. And this is what I'm referring to right here and right here. And again, the cyber cycle on both charts still strongly pushing upward. The Mobius RSI is approaching overbought, but we still have some room on the option side to move up. But as you can see here, this 20 EMA is serving as a strong resistance area. This yellow area here is our gap from this morning at 9:30. You see, I would imagine that we're going to try to make a push to close the gap. because we have some good upward momentum. Keeping an eye on the skew, 7.65 versus 7.5. Now we're at 7.7. One strike in the money, 11.05 versus 9.7. One strike out of the money, or in the money rather, on the put side. So there's a lot of bullish momentum here building, and I think if we can push through that 20 EMA, we may see a definite close of the gap and possibly a run towards R1. The last price closed on the call option was 15. And our theoretical price is still in line with that. We would like to see this blue line start to go above this green bubble, which is the last recorded sale of this option. And of course, we want to continue to see the VXX slope downward, which it is in a pretty strong way. We have broken through the 20 EMA. We have 3 seconds, 2 seconds left on the close of this bar. Okay, so now we're in a new bar, and I think we have closed the gap. We are now $315 profit, and this is decision time, whether we feel that this closing of the gap is going to be the major resistance, or that we have enough momentum above the 20 EMA to get to R1. I am going to bring down my target to 300 and see if we can get out of here with some. As you can see right now, I'm putting my target at the gap close, even though we technically are a couple of ticks away from closing it. I figure that may cause our major resistance here. The RSI is approaching 1, although Cyber Cycle is still strongly pointing up. Let's keep an eye on skew. For the in the money or at the money, it's 8.4 versus 6.7. I don't know. I'm going to bring this back up to 390. However, I am not going to risk any more money, so I'm bringing my stop up to break even in case we get a strong reversal down at this juncture. I'm moving my target back up to 450, which was the original $150 per target, per contract target. And we are pushing through the gap close. Right now, based on the theoretical price, which is the blue line, 1606, which would be around this area, 330, 345. What you're going to see here, when you have the theoretical price this far above the last price, you're going to see this gray area jump up quickly as more buyers come in, because this is not a realistic sale price. It's below actually what the bid is. Right now we have the bid at our target. So we have a 99.9% chance of getting filled at our target. Now you can see it has jumped up to 1670. We should have gotten filled, but we did not. Oh, yes, we did. Okay, we went through, we got our 450 profit. So that's how I use this system. I hope this helps and gives you a better understanding of how the active trader window can be very effective in managing your trade.